In this tutorial, we will be talking about buckets, how to configure a template to be bucketable, and how to convert a folder into a bucket. Welcome to this tutorial on how to use buckets in Sitecore. During this video, we will create a news article template that will be configured to be bucketable. We'll convert the news section into a bucket, and we'll also discuss problems you may run into when using buckets under the home item. All the additional materials that I mentioned during this tutorial will be displayed on screen and linked in the description. So let's create a template first. I will configure the bucketable option for this template on the standard values item. We should configure presentation details for this item as well, but I won't be covering this during this tutorial as I created in-depth tutorial on standard values. Once we've configured the template, we can move to the news folder and create a few items. I'm going to create a few news articles, and then I will convert this folder into a bucket. As you can see, all the items are hidden, and you don't need to wait for Sitecore to load a long list of news article items. To navigate to one of the items, you need to select it from the list of results below the search box. You can filter items that are returned from the search, and you can also search by a specific field on the template. If you want to see the structure of subfolders that Sitecore has created, for debugging purposes, you can enable it by going to the View tab and by selecting the Buckets checkbox. As I mentioned, buckets are very useful for things like news articles, blog posts, and item collections. But it's meant to be used for media items and folders outside the home item, because once we convert a folder into a bucket, Sitecore will put all the items into subfolders. Names of those subfolders will be generated from the created date, and it will become a part of the item's URL. If you want to use buckets for news articles and blog posts, you need to implement a logic that will change the URL for these items and resolve the item properly. If you want to create normal items, by normal items I mean items that are not bucketable, and bucketable items below the same folder, Sitecore will allow you to do this and will display normal items in the content tree. We can revert a bucket back and change it to a folder with a normal list of items by clicking on the revert icon. We can also sync our bucket if for some reason some bucketable items are still displayed below the folder. During this tutorial, we've created a template with bucketable options selected, we've created a couple of items, and we've converted a folder into a bucket. We've also talked about problems you may run into if you use buckets under the home item for things like news articles and blog posts, because URLs will contain extra subfolders. As always, I hope you found this tutorial useful, and I see you next time.